What we found is that normally when we think about whether customers will do something or not, we just tend to look at the costs and the benefits. So we would look at how much something costs, and we would look at what the benefits are to the individual, and we would see, if the benefits outweigh the costs, we as engineers would typically say, well, yes, that would be good for the customer, and the customer will go ahead and adopt that solution. But what we've found is that's only part of the it's only sort of part of the issue, and it's only one of the things that customers take into account, and it's a much bigger issue. And we've looked at or adopted an energy behaviour model which provides a much better overall view of how customers make their decisions about whether to do something or not. And the behaviour model has sort of two parts to it. It has a sort of individual element where it sort of explains, it looks at the characteristics of the customer, so the attitudes of customers, things like social norms, sort of how do peers influence your decision to do something or not, and also whether you think that you have the skills to do something, because if you don't believe you can do something, even if actually you can, you will go ahead and take up a new technology. So that's sort of the individual characteristics of a person, but also it's important to remember the context. So there are external factors that influence whether a customer will take up a new solution or not. So these are the sort of the market rules. What does the market allow to happen, and also the technology, so what technology is available to help make it happen. So there's the external factors that influence the customer, and also the internal characteristics, if you like, of the customer themselves, and all of them are important when you're trying to decide whether a customer will take up a new technology solution, particularly in a smart grid context. And that's a classic example to show why the economic model doesn't work, because if you look at the economics of switching, I know in the UK that most customers will save money if they switch energy supplier, but very few customers do switch their energy supplier. And that's because of some of the other factors in that behaviour model are influencing the customer. So it might be something like their attitude. They may have a lack of trust in their energy supplier, or a lack of trust in the alternative suppliers. So that's more important than the actual benefit that they will receive. It might also be something to do with the external market. It's just too complicated to try and switch, or they've had an experience where when they switched supplier in the past it was too hard. So that's more important, and that's having a bigger impact on why they're making the decision not to do something, rather than the actual financial saving that they could make. So that's why the model sort of shows all the different elements that need to be taken into account. Experiences of customers not realising that they're switching when they're agreeing to something, or even having it switched without their knowledge. I mean, that was quite a few years ago, and there was instances of that in the UK. But I think that's all been sorted out now. But what it does is it creates customers are aware, of other people who've had bad experiences in the past, or they themselves have had a bad experience in the past, and that then influences their decision going forward. So just because something's happened before, it takes a long time to rebuild the trust.